Good evening. Good evening, and can you hear me? Good evening, and welcome to the Saratoga Springs Planning Commission meeting for September 14th, 2023. I have asked Commissioner Scott Hill to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item is a roll call, and I can tell summer vacation must be over because all of us are here this evening. So then we have a quorum present. The next item is public input. Time has been set aside for any person to express ideas, concerns, comments, questions, or issues that are not listed as a public hearing on the agenda. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. This evening, we have one item that's a public comment, and that's the title amendments for Land Development Code. And the cell phone tower is not a public comment. So if you're here for the cell phone tower and like to make a comment, now would be the time. I'm going to close public comment in this time, and we'll move right on to our first agenda item, amendments to Title 19 Land Development Code of the Saratoga Springs, City of Saratoga Springs, Chapters 19.06 Landscaping and Fencing and 19.09 Off-Street Parking. And that'll be presented by Austin Roy.
All right, thank you. Let's see if this is working. Maybe not. It's not working. Sorry, 1 second. Let's see if we can.
Sorry about that. Okay, try now.
Okay, here we go. All right, so this is, we're amending section 19.06 and 19.09 of Title 19. So these two sections, the first section, 1906, deals with our artificial turf applications. And so you can see here, this is the language that we're proposing to amend. Essentially, we're doing away with the artificial, we used to require a building permit application, so they would go to building department. We want to keep it all inside the planning department, so we're getting rid of the building permit requirement. Now they'll just submit an artificial turf application, and then it will go to, we'll just review it in the planning department. They'll still have to meet all of the requirements, but that will just be part of the application. And so that's essentially the language that we're changing there. You can see that. And then this is just continuing on that same section there. We're not changing anything down below. And then the other section that we're looking to amend is regarding off-street parking. And this is for 3 different types of uses: commercial recreation centers, fitness centers, and recreation centers. And so this is coming from the city council. The city council initiated this. They had some concerns about our fitness centers and not having enough parking. So we did some research to kind of look and see what the standard was in other communities. And I'll just skip here to this other slide so you can see that's commercial recreation centers, and then this is fitness centers or gyms. And so you can, on this screen here, the fitness centers, we looked at some of these. So in particular, Eagle Mountain has 1 stall per 150 square feet of floor area, and also Springville. So our current standard right now is 5 per 1,000 square feet, or would be the same as saying 1 per 200 square feet. And so we wanted to go something a little bit stricter than what we have, but we didn't want to be necessarily the strictest city. And so that was kind of the next level, the next step up. We also consulted with our economic development director, Doug Meldrum, and he kind of recommended that number. And so that's where we're coming from with the 1 stall per 100 square feet for fitness centers. And then in our code, we have the fitness centers in 2 different places. So we have fitness centers that are 5,000 square feet or less, or 5,001 square feet or larger. with regards to this section of code, it doesn't make any difference to distinguish the two, so we just decided why not consolidate it under one as fitness center, so that's why we're changing that. And then finally, the other change that we're proposing here is commercial recreation centers and recreation centers is we're adding a clause here that requires parking. So the way it's stated here is +1 stall per each 3 seats of spectator seating at maximum capacity. So the idea is if we have like a basketball gym and there's seating for spectators, in the past we haven't been accounting for those extra people coming to the facility. So we want to make sure that there's going to be parking for that. So those are the changes that are being proposed to those 2 sections of Title 19. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Austin. This is a public hearing, so I'm going to open this up for public comment at this time. I'm going to close the public comment, and I'll open this to the commission for question and comments. Commissioner Kilgore.
This is not working.
So was it Commissioner Hill instead?
Yeah, he was first.
Oh, there we
Okay,
go.
Commissioner Hill.
Austin, just a couple of questions I had. I know that we've seen a few applications for recreation and fitness centers over the last year, and so I'm getting a sense that we want to get ahead of a concern that we might have that would be not enough parking. But have we been receiving complaints at the few places that we have right now that there's a problem?
Yeah, Sarah, yeah.
We haven't necessarily been receiving complaints. What we have been receiving are requests to put businesses in the parking lots and take up some of the parking. So, and then we've seen that the business, and so, sorry, we went and asked the surrounding businesses how they're being impacted, and then they're all being impacted. And so we're just trying to address, this for the future. If we get another one, that they have adequate parking. So while we're seeing enough parking, if another lot were to be created and some of the parking be taken up, it wouldn't be enough. And the only reason it's enough right now is because they have extra.
Okay. I guess I'm the other aspect is how important to the community are recreation centers. I don't know that, but maybe the council has talked a little bit about that, in that the city doesn't have a rec center at this point. I know on board at some point when we can get funding. The next question I would have would be how important is it to the community that we have opportunities until we can provide something from a community standpoint to be feasible. And, I think we've heard from a couple of individuals that are thinking about recreation centers, and it doesn't seem where we were, it deterred anyone because we'd had a few applications looking at. So that was a question, I guess, and an observation I had as I looked at the information that Austin, you sent. We seem to be comfortably in the middle now, and it seems appropriate. But those were just a couple of questions that I had.
And I do want to add just a little bit of background. Within the last few months, you saw the application for rezone at Ring Road, and part of that was possibly an indoor soccer facility. And when that went to council, it did get denied, but that is where the question on parking came up. A lot of the residents said, there's already a soccer field right here. It's taking up the whole street. We're going to have Mountain View Corridor connecting and coming down to Ring Road. And if we put a facility like that here and everybody has to park on the street, what happens to traffic in this location? And so when the council reviewed that, they did give us direction to look into this further. So that's the background on why we did this research.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing how the buttons don't seem to be working, who else would like to go next? Commissioner Kilgore?
If if we were to apply the changes to Vasa, would it increase parking with what there is now at Vasa or less?
So let's go back to let's see this slide here. So Vasa would fit under fitness center. And so they would have to, I mean, it would impact, they would have a different standard than when they originally came in, yes. So,
So would there be more parking then? in that case?
They would, well, so there's the current requirement, which is 5 stalls per 1,000, and right now they exceed that, but they are not, this comes out to 7,000 stalls per 1,000. They don't meet that.
so one thing you need to understand is Vasa is kind of a unique situation. It used to be a grocery store, and it was previously a different use, and that previous use is why we have the parking lot that you see today. And so when they changed use, they have to meet, and they now they exceed the parking.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I know, yeah, so I'm just, I mean, we don't know in the future what kind of situation would occur. Maybe another situation like, well, it's unlikely because we don't have a grocery store that, but still just not knowing. I'm just trying to visualize what this regulation change would, how it would impact. And of course, Vasa won't change at this point because this is after their grandfather. But I'm just trying to understand if this were to be applied right now and Vasa were just coming in, what changes would they have to do in order to make it meet? And it sounds like they're okay now, but I don't understand what Sarah was saying. They didn't meet when it comes to the 7,000 square feet.
Well, we would have to run all the numbers to know if they would meet this or not. But I do know that they have more than the 5 per 1,000. But they were looking at taking some out.
Okay, so then if this were applied another fitness center like Vasa that came in, then what we're seeing today as far as Vasa's parking, that is actually, it exceeds the standard than what we're expecting then. Is that what?
Well, it exceeds the current standard. I don't know the answer to your question on if it meets this proposed standard. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, so you were talking about the current standard. Vasa exceeding. I was just wondering how,
Right.
again, to visualize what this would do, would it mean that next time a Vasa-like fitness center came in that size, that they would actually provide even more parking?
So,
or
yeah, I
less?
mean, one way to look at it is Vasa, based on the square footage that it currently has,
Right.
so under the old ordinance, the difference between the old and the new ordinance would be approximately 100 more stalls,
Oh, okay.
at least, yeah, so.
100, okay. All right.
Can I tag in and just
Don't have any extra.
ask a question? Again, they bought a grocery store, and so they maybe didn't need all of that space, but they bought it as a building and as a unit. We don't know that answer, but
Right.
I don't know that fitness centers would be as big as that is. I mean, you build it and you fill it, but.
No, I have no, I don't see any fault or anything like that. All I'm trying to do is visualize what these new standards would be if we were to apply it to a current, location. And so I got my answer. And again, I'm not saying that it's too small now or what. I just thought I could now visualize that a fitness center as the size of Vasa, if they were to come in under these circumstances, under these regulations, then they would have a lot more parking than what Vasa currently has. So now I'm just trying to visualize that. So I'm not saying blame or there was anything wrong with the way Vasa did anything.
Sarah, was the old Vasa location, was that done under the code that we're amending?
Oh, no. The original Smith's grocery store was before I started working here, and
I'm talking about the Vasa
The
location.
old Vasa location.
Cafe Rio,
At
that old Vasa
so
location.
just so you know, when that Vasa came in, we had our code at 6 per 1,000, and they requested to reduce it to 5 per 1,000. They did a code amendment, applied for a code amendment, and then gave us data, and that got approved. And then obviously it didn't work out. So, but we never did a code amendment to amend it back to 6. And the reason we're proposing 7 is, for the reasons Austin mentioned earlier. So we don't want to underserve those fitness centers with parking because it creates an issue for the rest of the users in the complex.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. That's it for me.
Thank you, Commissioner Kilgore. Any other comments from the commission? Commissioner Ryan?
Working, right?
Yeah, that's not working.
Quickly on the parking, like I think it's a rare occasion that you go to any sporting event around these recreation centers and find adequate parking. So totally in support of the change, and I think it's merited in all of the instances that I see. And even with Vasa out here already having exceeded, I mean, that parking lot is regularly full. So I think it's a good change for the city. I had a question on the turf itself. So I like the idea of being able to consolidate it all. I think that's what you mentioned, Austin, bringing it into planning versus having a piece of it here and a piece of it there. Does the enforcement side of it stay separate though as well? Like planning's not talking about taking on like driving around and saying, oh wait, they didn't get a permit, they didn't get a permit. Like you guys, there would still be communication amongst staff in terms of on the enforcement side.
Yeah.
So what we will do is our code compliance officer will inspect it once it's installed. If we do get complaints, we will go out and take a look, but we don't go out and actively look for it.
Thank you. That's all I had, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan. Last call for any comments. I will entertain a motion.
I will move, based upon the evidence and the explanations received today, I move that we approve the proposed amendments to Title 19 with the findings and conditions in the staff report.
We have a motion from Commissioner Hill. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Ryan. Any question on the comment or question on the motion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. That passes. Okay, we're going to move on to the next item, the business item. Deer Canyon Cell Tower Site Plan located west of Deer Canyon Drive, Utah County Parcel 54-318-001. Sandra Layton is the applicant, and Sarah Carroll will be presenting that for us.
Okay, great. This proposed site and location meets the code requirements. There is one topic we would like your feedback on, and it is the color. The code does require camouflaging, and the applicant is proposing to paint this brown to help blend in with the area. And, and then they're also proposing, it's not shown in here. In the motions, there's a fence that's angled at the top angled with, it is, sorry. It's the bottom corner there. Shows the angling at the top with the spikes, And so they're proposing the fence be taller than 6 feet. And then they're also asking for feedback on the color. Staff put in the motion this National Parks Service color, and that's, but you're welcome to pick whatever color and refer that choice to the City Council. And then your thoughts on the fence being taller than 6 feet would also be appreciated. It's in the proposed conditions that it would be allowed to be 7 feet. So the condition says the cell tower shall be painted National Parks cocoa brown color. You don't have to go with that. You can any other option, and then the proposed fence shall be allowed to be 7 feet.
Okay, is the applicant here? Would you like to come up and join us? Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Sandra Layton. I'm with Atlas Tower in Boulder, Colorado.
Do you want to add anything to the presentation?
I do.
Okay.
Atlas Tower, we have been in business for since 2007. We've built towers from St. George all the way up to Logan. We've been working with Saratoga City for over a year. We've been discussing the location, meeting code, and the location was chosen because we have to go at the city first, city sites. We chose this location. They thought this was the best spot, and the carrier also did. We held a neighborhood meeting back in June, and we had nothing but support for the tower. They said that they have little to no service. So it was very positive. Let's see, we've had our documents have gone through all the different departments within the planning and public works. They've reviewed the documents, they've given their feedback on what they want to change, just to make sure we're meeting code and there's no question. And as of the last word of talking to him, we have met code, and we're within the zoning guidelines. Let's see here, we're requesting your approval for this communications facility. It is designed to hold up to 4 carriers, and we already have multiple carrier interest. It would be nothing but benefit. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't even color samples, but there's not one for the National Parks Brown, which.
The one,
Yeah, so there's not one for this one, that was, this was just based on photo simulations, but, Commissioner Cunningham has a good point, that you always pick up different colors depending on your monitor, so anyhow, here's, sorry.
I'm going to go ahead and open this up to the commission for comments. But the color that I liked on my monitor, mocha, is different in person than it is on my monitor. But anyway, so comments, Commissioner Kilgore?
So this was just,
Okay. Let me make sure. Last time I was on the wrong application, so. This is an administrative process, so I always ask the applicants for administrative processes, you're willing to comply with all the conditions in the city staff packet? Okay.
yes, I am.
And does the city anticipate, or the staff anticipate any issues with a 7-foot fence?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay. And then, I'm guessing the slants in, but I couldn't tell by the pictures in the.
It does.
So it slants in?
It's supposed to serve as serve like a barbed wire would, but without having that look, which was not wanted.
Okay.
But does it slant away from the cell tower
It
or
slants-
towards the cell tower?
Oh, away, sorry. Yes.
Okay, that was,
Yeah,
okay.
to
all right.
keep anyone from being able to get in.
To get, yeah, okay. And then, you said the best, so how is best spot defined? You know, you said the city and various folks thought that the location where it's going to go was the best spot. So how is that defined?
It's defined by the carrier decides. So they look at where the service is based on height, of course, but it's not always based on height. It's based on the location and where their antennas can be adjusted to reach within the area they're trying to hit. In this case, they're trying to hit that neighborhood and beyond if they can, and that they're able to. They're in a spot where they're able to adjust their antennas just right to get over any other houses and all that. I think also it's also used for a lot of utilities already, so it's not going to be sticking out like a sore thumb either.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. And then on this page 26, making sure that this is still part of the right packet. There was a comment that said in the notes that the grading, what is it? It's a sheet number Z8, and in the notes up in the top middle box, it says that all future antenna extensions will comply with Saratoga Springs City Code 19.05.03, get that L3. And so I was wondering why future antenna extensions as opposed to like all current ones as well.
So when we build the tower, we build it, we have an anchor tenant already there. The tenants will apply for their own permits to attach to our tower. And so they're saying all tenants, if the first one, if it's, one carrier, then they will apply for themselves and they will comply with that code. Any future tenants as well will also do that. So that's just laying that out for you.
Okay, so I'm just reading more into it than I need to. Okay. And then, I had a question about the colors, but I guess we have that. And then there were some sample pictures, like of desert. Where were those taken?
You're talking about the photo sims?
Yeah, like,
So I actually brought this for you.
Yeah.
This shows you, but I only brought one copy, but it shows you where it's at, and it also shows you where the picture was taken from each site. So that might help clear that up.
so is it in Cerritos Springs?
Oh, the one that's in there? The one,
Yeah, because I was thinking of matching the color, but then I realized this might not be Cerritos.
I'm sorry, yes. That's Diamond Valley. I thought you were asking where the photo sims.
Oh,
That
okay.
was Diamond Valley. And then another picture that I sent was also in, where was it? Wicks, yeah, it was in, by the prison.
Okay, so, and then the color of the antenna is the same for both pictures then?
No, I think those are two different colors.
Two different colors?
That's different intent. That's the same antenna.
Yeah, it's the same.
No, that's the same
So we only
antenna.
have these two pictures?
Right.
Okay, all right,
I sent another one to Sam yesterday, and he may have just not got it to you. I'm sorry.
okay.
I think
Yeah,
I
'cause was just
forwarded.
trying to.
Yeah, but that was just today, because I got them yesterday, and
oh,
I was-
right. Commissioner Cunningham forwarded some that Sam got, so you might have some in your email that you're not seeing in your packet.
So is the one that we're looking at that's on your screen right there as well, is that the Cocoa National Parks color?
Do you guys know that?
That's not it, right?
Oh, it's not.
Do we know what color that is?
We'll have to get back to you on that, but it's a separate color that the landlord wanted at that location. Because the tree,
do you want to come up? The people on YouTube are going to be screaming at me. There's 8. Come on, there's 8 people.
That's a record.
good afternoon, everyone. Yes, the color there is not deer country, it's the color of the landlord wanted for that environment. We can make the color blend into any color you want. So this is a few examples. We can even go further and really, with your team, work out which colors will really blend into the area. So there's no limitation on the color. There was just like one example of a tower we did with a painted background. You can see how it blends into the area rather than sticking out.
So I kind of jumped in, Mr. Chair, apologies for that, but the email that you forwarded to us today, is that Cocoa National Park? Is that the color?
No, so I think that's also
this one that we got
That's
sent.
Wix. Yeah, that's also not. That's also just a variance of a brown color. So it just depends on again the local jurisdiction that the color they want,
Okay.
or the landlord wants. But this is to show the commission here that we can paint the color any color that you deem appropriate.
Could you state your name and
my
address
name
of the
is-
record?
My name is Helmut Strumpfer from Atlas Towers, Boulder, Colorado.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and you guys, you can sit down. I didn't want you don't have to stand the entire time. Just
okay.
right here. This table's for you, right there.
Oh, okay.
It's not an inquisition. You don't have to stand in the box.
Thank you.
Oh, all right, so Commissioner Kilgore.
Yeah, so I think I'm done, and the only reason I was asking about the colors on the pictures is just so I could calibrate my eyes as well. I don't have any issues with the colors, I don't have any complaints or anything like that, just trying to calibrate, that's all. And that's it for me.
So I think I saw Commissioner Ryan touch his mic, and then Commissioner Hill. Did you want to go?
Well, yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. I totally jumped out of line, so apologies to Commissioner Kilgore for that. Everybody wants to have their favorite brown color on this. So I appreciate the supplementary document. Actually, that's very helpful as well with the sightlines that you provided. And appreciate the packet of information being very clean in terms of working with the city around all of that. So for me, it really just comes down to the preference on the colors. And I'm more in favor of like a darker tone versus some of the tones that were presented to us. And that's all I had, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan. Commissioner Hill.
Thank you. As the other commissioners have indicated, I think you've got a great product. It looks good. If we can zero in on the color, but the pictures that you provided from the neighborhoods, it's not obtrusive. It fits in. I'd like to step outside of maybe some of our what we're doing tonight, but ask a little bit about the coverage that's going to be provided by this tower. We have, I don't know down south what it's like, but it looks like this location is going to help south down by the lake. But will it reach up to like Pony Express up in that area? Because we've got real dead spots going up north, west, because of the hills there by Quail Hill. And, you probably, you don't know who the providers are going to be, but I just know there's a lot of concern that we've got dead spaces with the mountains around.
Could I approach you with a coverage map showing you?
I've printed one as well. So,
Would that be appropriate?
Sure, yes. You can. If you can find a way to get up here.
Just be careful of the cords and things.
Yeah. You didn't need to do that, sure.
you want the copy as well?
Just sorry, anyone can, I'll turn it both ways, but just so I can toggle. This is the, so we can make sure I get this right. Okay, if you can see here, that's the current coverage. So here's the location of the site being presented here. Green is bad. So the green is not good. A red is usually a color that's giving you a better signal strength. Okay. So if I can just toggle, make sure I can show you. If I do, sorry, apologies. If I do that, toggle down, you can see how, sorry, apologies if you can't see, ma'am. You can do that. So that, it's the same channel, so this is before. So currently this is the signal strength at this stage. If I do that, you can see how many more starts go.
It goes up
the green.
to the mountain and over to the lake.
Exactly. So that is the cut, those will be afterwards. And this is just T-Mobile. So if we add Verizon, if we add AT&T, it will even get better for all customers in the area. So basically you can see it's
So going up north with the proposal, how far north is that green going to?
This is going towards the mountain. So the lake is over here, and you've got the mountain in the background.
Right.
So the signal strength will go all the way it's roughly about a 0.5 mile radius. So it's about, depending on signal strength, but terrain plays a little bit of a role in that perspective.
Sure.
But roughly, if you say a 0.5 mile radius, gives you the coverage area.
Yeah.
And it's not always just the coverage itself provides. We always talk about capacity as well. Yeah. Because you could have a signal strength, but if not strong enough signal, you can't download videos fast enough or upload photos and that kind of perspective. Right. So this will give us stronger coverage in that area. Okay. Thank you. Can I show you later?
We saw that. Is it the same thing?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Commissioner Hill, is that?
Yeah, it does. It just seems like it will help the southern part of our community quite a bit. We still have, around the mountains, we're still going to have some dead spots, it looks like, but.
I don't remember the gentleman's name, I'm sorry. Accent is lovely, though.
Helmet.
To his point, we did approve the cell tower that went up by Lake Mountain, and capacity is always an issue as well. So if we have this additional tower farther south, then some of those spots that you're mentioning may help see some, maybe alleviated a little bit in terms of the capacity.
Okay, so the next thing, color preference. I'm going to say that I think the national park one is a little bit too red for me. I'm looking at these, I'm liking the Java better. That's just me. It's all personal, so if you haven't already made a comment about color, I'll turn everybody's mic on and you can just shout out your preference.
Well, so right now, it's dirt under in the location, but what's it expected to be? Is it expected to be green, you know, with native plants, or are we doing anything to, you know, for landscaping or anything like that in the area? This question's to the staff.
There will be gravel within the compound.
Okay.
And then the exterior will reseed with, you know, the type of vegetation that's there. We can reseed with the wild type vegetation, which is what's there. So, and I might mention, just if it helps, the tower is going to be very close to one of those big utility towers. That's the dark brown. So if you're looking, maybe blending with that, I just wanted to point that out in case that helps knowing where
It's
going to be.
really close to a power line corridor that has the tall brown poles.
Those dark copper or rust colored, those big tall ones, right? Those metal, yeah.
That color, yeah.
I would like to propose that we go with that, whatever the brown is.
French roast, I'm lobbying for French roast.
My second proposal is whatever the majority is, because it's just paint.
Do we know what color the tower was painted at the school, by any chance?
We do not know.
My concern is it will camouflage it and then it'll stand out. Because the camouflage is just, there's already power lines in the background and suddenly we're gonna make it noticeable. So probably the darker, the better to match the existing poles out there. Otherwise, it will be noticeable and strange looking.
I've always thought we should just leave them, but the code says we need to do
Yeah.
a camouflage. But I can be pushed to the French roast, but I prefer mocha.
You could smell it right now, the Folgers in your cup, the commercial from the 80s, right?
My opinion is I just feel like these guys do this all the time, so I trust them to match what we're trying to get them to match, unless the city thought, hey, they're not going to do this. But for me, I feel like you guys, that's what you do, and I feel like you are going to paint it, like, I mean, that darker brown, I really like the darker brown as well, but I feel like that you guys know what you're doing, and so I feel like you're going to paint it, and it's going to, like, I feel like you guys will do a job where, right? Where you guys are going to do it where the city, you know, the patrons that live around there and the city's going to like the color. So that's my feeling on the whole thing.
Yeah, with experience with my own houses, you paint it a certain color and then it turns out to be totally different when it's vertical, you know, as opposed to when you're looking at it like this. And so that's why I'm the same way. I
can hold
defer
it
to
this
the.
way. I can hold it this way.
Yeah, exactly. And I just defer to the people who've been doing it and have seen their results and have adjusted as time has gone. But if you're asking which way should it go, then I think the same thing is to make it look like the other towers that are already there, because they're already there. But again, it's up to you. You know, I think I leave it to your expertise because you guys have done this for many years, so.
And thank you for bringing those in for us. That is helpful, in my opinion. If there are no other comments from the commission, I will entertain a motion, and whoever makes the motion can pick the color.
No one's going to make it now.
I'll go for it. I move that the Planning Commission forward a recommendation for approval of the proposed Deer Canyon Cell Tower site plan located west of Deer Canyon Drive with the findings and conditions in the staff report, substituting language on motion number, or condition number 4, that the cell tower shall be painted French roast.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Ryan and a second from Commissioner Burns, correct? Do we have a question on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. The motion passes. Thank you.
I expect you to drive out and make sure it's painted the right color.
We're gonna keep the photo, you know,
I'll go out there, tape it up to it.
So the next item is The minutes, do we have any changes that we'd need to turn in for the minutes? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
So we have a motion from Commissioner Ryan. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Kilgore. Do we have a question on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. That passes. Okay, commission comments. Any comments from the commissioners this evening?
I do have one. So, I did this to Nikki, subject to Sarah as well. So it was the city council meeting, but Sarah just got a really big, huge thing, and I'm not exactly sure what it is. And she had to take this really, really hard test. I'm going to turn over to Ken for just 2 seconds to explain what it is, because it's a huge deal that she got this. And so will you kind of explain to us a little bit what it is?
Sure. I thought we mentioned it at a previous planning commission meeting. Perhaps you weren't here when we did,
I might not have been, yeah.
but that's fine. We're happy to pat on backs as much as we can. American Institute of Certified Planners offers a certificate for being a certified planner after you have had so many years of experience and knowledge of planning. So you do have to qualify for even taking the exam. And it's about a 3-hour exam. It's very grueling. It gets into a lot of different topics that are planning related and sometimes questionable how related they are to planning, but they revolve around the planning world, and you're expected to know a lot about a lot. And so Sarah did recently take that and passed it. It was her second attempt, and it's a third attempt.
Good job.
Average national rate for passing the exam is 66%. Gives you an idea. So anyway, we're proud of Sarah.
Congrats. And you're awesome. That's awesome.
Thank you. It's about 100 hours of study, and and it's offered every 6 months. It was my third try, not consecutively. I did try a few years ago, but when I became director, Ken encouraged me to try again. So I'm glad that I passed.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Any other commission comments this evening? Director's report?
So director's report, so just since our last planning commission meeting, there was a meeting on September 5th, and we passed the code changes for parallel fencing and the 15-foot for sports courts, and then 18 feet if it's in multifamily. So that code change passed, and then we had a work session on Wildflower, which Wildflower Village 5, which you'll see in the future. There were some bigger topics related to what type of zoning it would receive. So that just went to council for work session, but it will come your way as well. And then we don't have any items for our next meeting, so we're not going to have a meeting on September 28th. And then I did send out an email. We have a couple of you registered for the Utah APA conference. If anyone else wants to go, feel free to reply to that email. I hope all of you got it. And then the courses with the little person symbol are for citizen planners, and so those would count towards your required training. So that's all.
Thank you. Ken, do you have anything you need to add? Then we have a closed session this evening.
We do not.
Then I will adjourn this meeting until the next meeting is needed, because we don't have another one in September.